My name is Paul Mullen. I'm from a small island off the coast of Ireland, the Aran Islands. And if I was on death row, I'd say my favourite meal would probably be some sort of seafood. I'd say lobster or scallops, something like that, yeah. Yeah, so the islands I'm from are, it's the island I'm from, it's called Inishmore. It's 9 miles long, 3 miles wide, and a population of 800 people. So it'd be out there on the west coast of Ireland, so it's fairly remote now, but in the summer it's a lovely spot, yeah. So there's no rugby at all on the islands. It'd be predominantly Gaelic football. It's a traditional Irish sport. But I went to boarding school on the mainland, and that's where I picked up rugby. So I was probably 12, 13 when I picked up rugby, and in the boarding school it was the only sport. So it was sink or swim. You like it or you don't, and if you didn't play rugby, there wasn't a whole pile to do. So thankfully, I took to it like a duck to water, I suppose, as they say. So I loved it, and with rugby, it's kind of taken me a few places. So yeah, so I played rugby at home with a club called Munster. There's 4 provinces in Ireland, and I was playing Munster underage. And then it kind of came around, and my dad was like, my parents were like, listen, we sent you to school not to play rugby. The idea was to get a bit of an education. So because of that, they're like, hey, listen, we want you to go get a college degree. So I actually went to Texas A&M in Galveston, and I studied marine engineering. So I got my degree there, ended up getting a master's degree, and then the MLR kicked off. So with that, my first 2 years were with the Houston SaberCats. Last year I was with San Diego, and then COVID came in and shut us down. But so now I'm here for hopefully for 3 years. So looking forward to experiencing everything in Utah and give this a shot. Yeah, when I look out the apartment window, I'm looking up the mountains, and to me that's just, I've never seen something like that before. Texas is fairly flat. Where I'm from at home, it's just, I suppose we're maybe a bit of a hill in the water, but nothing like these mountains. They're absolutely spectacular, and I'd love to climb them, but I'd say I'm not in that shape, or I don't know, I need a fair bit of practice, but no, so it's really been really cool. I'm hoping to head out to the Salt Flats. I want to check that out, and then sometime when we're free, head down south to the national parks. They look like absolutely beautiful, so I'm very excited to explore Utah and see what it has to offer. Yeah, no, unfortunately I haven't had much of a chance to meet any of the supporters and the fans, mainly due to COVID. But when we were here with Houston, I think we were right in these locker rooms here, and when we played, the fans were pretty incredible. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to having them behind me this time. So yeah, it should be exciting. Yeah, I think that my family have always been behind me. It's like, sometimes you might think the idea might be a bit out there to play rugby, because at least a few years ago in America, rugby wasn't that big. So to say you're kind of playing professional rugby, it's not even a thing. So I suppose you're kind of going in like uncharted territory, and but just kind of talking to my family and kind of just making sure that they're like, listen, it's something you love, you might as well give it a shot. There's no point doing something you don't like. So I'd have to say they've been very supportive over the last few years. I suppose I love traveling, Caribbean. Yeah, I love going to the Caribbean, and I'd love to. There's so much out there, and because there's so many different islands, they're actually different countries, and there's actually so much difference between the different islands. So I'd love to get out to the Caribbean and see if I could see a bit more of that. Maybe go sailing in the Caribbean. That would be a dream come true now. But yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be too exciting. It wouldn't be like someone like Mikey Teo. He'd be very exciting, but I'd say maybe just like slow and steady, So yeah, just hit scrums and rooks, and I think as a prop, I wouldn't be the most exciting player to watch anyway. But I think rugby. There's so much more to rugby than just the one game, and I'm probably gonna have a bit of a tangent here, but I'll try and bring it back in if that's all right. So I feel like with rugby, no matter what part of the world you go, so like growing up if you're a kid in America, you have your main sports, baseball, basketball, football, and hockey or whatever it is, but you're very limited to just to America. Like, with me playing rugby, I played rugby in Ireland. You come over to America and you find a club, straight away your family. Do you know what I mean? And I find that really means a lot, especially when you come into a country or a place where you don't know anybody, but immediately you go to practice and you have friends and your family. And I've been very fortunate with my time in America that I've been brought into people's houses for Christmas and Thanksgiving, just surely through rugby. But if I was to tell some kid that's grown up to play rugby in America, I think it's the best sport in the world. and you get to travel the world with it. Well, I think, I'm not too sure if it's, again, I wouldn't be the most into the American sports in terms, but like, I'd say after a rugby game, everybody shakes hands. So, I mean, you might be absolutely like, beating each other up to as much as you can on the rugby field. As soon as the last whistle goes, you shake their hands and you're friends. Do you know what I mean? And then some, you might meet them again some other place, some other time. But there's like a friendship there that I just haven't felt with other sports. So it's I think for that reason, rugby is very unique. I'm Paul Mullen, and I'm here for the nation.